Hello students, welcome back to this channel. This is Dr. Chetna Kumawat and today we are going to understand factors affecting dividend policy. In our previous lecture, we have already discussed by what do we understand the term dividend, dividend decisions and dividend policy, dividend decisions as a residual decision and essentials of a sound dividend policy. It is a generally accepted principle that the directors of a company have sole right to declare dividend and determine its amount out of company's earnings. But in addition to legal restrictions, they have to consider many factors while deciding the dividend policy. Irrational distribution of earnings has been very beautifully described in a legal case. Accordingly, the net earnings that should be distributed among the shareholders depends largely upon the company's needs for accumulated reserves to strengthen its credit, increase its working capital, carrying contemplated projects of expansion, or provide contingencies against future hazards. In the light of this statement, the factors which determine the dividend policy of a company may be categorized as external factors and internal factors. First of all, we will understand internal factors. The first internal factor which influence the dividend policy is nature of earnings. The amount and stability of earnings of a company is the most important aspect of dividend policy because dividends can be paid out of present or past years' profits. Thus, earnings of a company fix the upper limit on dividends. The dividends should generally be paid out of current year's earnings only because the profits of the previous years become more or less a part of permanent investment in the business to earn current profits. The stability of company's earnings should also be considered while taking the dividend decision. If earnings are relatively stable, a company is in a better position to predict its future earnings. Such a company is able to pay higher percentage of its earnings than the company which has fluctuating earnings. The amount and the stability of earnings is also affected by the nature of industry to which the company belongs. Firms dealing in necessities have more stable income than those dealing in luxuries and fancy goods. Number 2. Future funds requirements. A company should also consider its financial requirements for expansion programs or increased needs of working capital before taking a dividend decision. If the company distributes whole of its earnings among the shareholders as dividend, it will face difficulties in taking new projects or meeting increased needs of working capital. Therefore, if the company has viable and profitable investment proposals, it should retain maximum earnings and the balance, if any, should be distributed among shareholders as dividend. Thus, a company having no internal investment opportunities should follow high payout ratio as compared to one having more profitable investment opportunities. Newly established companies require much of their earnings for development and expansion, so they restrict payment of dividend and retain a substantial part of their earnings, while older companies can formulate more liberal and consistent dividend policy. Number 3. Liquidity of funds. A company's capacity to pay dividends will be determined primarily by its ability to generate adequate, stable profits and cash flows, that is, liquidity. A dividend represents a cash outflows, hence, the greater the funds and the liquidity of the firm, the better is the ability to pay dividends. If there is a shortage of cash, question of payment of dividend does not arise even though the company has sufficient profits. In such a situation, it is better to declare stock dividend, that is, issue bonus bonus shares because such shares amount to distribution of earnings among the existing shareholders without affecting its cash position. Number 4, shareholders' preference or desire. The shareholders' desire for current dividend income than capital gains from sale of shares due to increase in market value of shares greatly influences the dividend policy of a company. The dividend income in the hands of shareholders is tax-free since 1st June 2000. Hence, shareholders generally prefer high cash dividend on regular basis. This provides them a regular source of income and builds confidence among the investors of the company. Even institutional investors also favor a policy of regular payment of cash dividend. However, there are certain shareholders, especially from high income brackets and foreign investors, who prefer bonus shares over cash dividend. Such shareholders want the company to retain a larger portion of its earnings and declare a low dividend for distribution. Although it is difficult for the company to fulfill the conflicting interests of these shareholders, but it should formulate its dividend policy in view of the interest of the categories of shareholders. Lastly, number 5, control motive. The existing shareholders or management's control motive also influences the dividend policy of a company. When a company pays high dividend, its cash position is adversely affected. This results in issue of new shares for financing the investment programs. But the control of existing shareholders will be diluted if they cannot buy the new shares issued by the company. Under such circumstances, to maintain control of the existing shareholders, it is desirable to declare lower dividend so that the company can meet its financial requirements from its retained earnings without issuing new shares to the public. All these are the internal factors which we have understood. Now, external factors. Number 1. General state of economy. The economic and business conditions as they prevail at a particular time may influence the firm's decision to distribute or retain the profit. For example, in case of uncertain economic or business conditions, the management may be inclined to retain a major portion of earnings with it to meet out the contingencies of the situation. Again, in case of times of depression, when the liquidity position is likely to worsen, the management will like to retain the whole or a part of the earnings to maintain liquidity position. In times of prosperity, the firm may be in a position to distribute a substantial part of it as dividend. At the same time, it may be more inclined to retain a larger portion of earnings to take advantage of increasingly available investment opportunities. Number 2. Firm's access to capital market. A company can pay dividend despite of its weak liquidity position, provided it can sell its debentures or shares in the capital market. Hence, well-established and large companies like Videocon International Limited, Reliance Industries Limited can pay dividend at higher rate than new and small companies because of their better access to capital market. The new companies find it difficult to borrow from the market and hence they cannot afford to pay dividends at the higher rates. Therefore, the greater the capacity of the company to raise funds from the capital market, the more will be the dividend paying capacity even in absence of liquid cash. Next, legal restrictions. The dividend policy of a company does not entirely depend upon the choice of shareholders or financial requirements of the company, but it should be evolved within the legal framework and restrictions. The Companies Act provides that dividends can be paid only out of current profits or past profits after providing for depreciation. The Company's Transfer of Profit to Reserve or Rules 1975 require a company declaring a dividend more than 10% to transfer a certain percentage, not more than 10% of current year's profits to reserves. Companies Act further provides that dividends cannot be declared out of capital profits as it will tantamount to a reduction of capital. Therefore, it is imperative that the directors, while declaring dividends, should consider all the relevant legal formalities prescribed by the Companies Act, Income Tax Act, and other provisions. Lastly, contractual restrictions. Generally, certain lenders to the company also imposes restrictions regarding payment of dividend for the safety of their loans. Such restrictions may be such that dividend shall not be declared if the debt equity ratio is found less than 1.5:1 or liquidity ratio is less than 2:1. Transfer of a certain amount to redemption fund created for their redemption of debt, payment of dividend out of the income earned after that arrangement. When such restrictions are imposed, dividend is paid at lower rate by retaining a larger portion of profits. And this point is the last one, which is government's economic and tax policies. The earning capacity of the company is widely affected by the changes in fiscal, industrial, labor, and other policies of the government. For example, increase in the bank rate or margin limit in financing against securities by government may cause financing facilities costly and more dependence on internal sources. Thus, rate of dividend is reduced. Similarly, sometimes government restricts the distribution of dividend beyond a certain percentage in a particular industry or in all spheres of business activities, as was done by Government of India in 1975. The corporate taxes on dividend and capital gain also affect the rate of dividend of the company. High rate of taxation reduces the residual profits available for distribution to shareholders, and consequently the rate of dividend is lowered down. So this is it for today's lecture. Thank you so much for your patience and learning.